That's it right there. We can get up and we can go home. That is it. Literally, learning is a skill. And if we do not see learning as a skill, we don't take the time to understand that when we learn something, we have to also use that in a way to where we can produce it, right? What's going on, y'all? It's Coach Williz, and once again, we are back. Yes, sir. Man, I wanted to get on here real quick and read y'all something that I wrote. And I want y'all to take the time, man, go to my website, man, and read my blog posts, man, because those also give you insight about the stuff that I get on here and teach y'all about personal development and spiritual development, man. You can also get some more insight about the things that I write about, because my writing allows me to go more in depth about subjects. So just check those out. I wrote this thing here, man. I want y'all to check it out. It said, if learning is a skill and we do not consider it to be one, meaning we are not taking the time to be able to consume information and understand how to produce that information. That's it. That's it right there. We can get up and we can go home. That is it. Literally, learning is a skill. And if we do not see learning as a skill, we don't take the time to understand that when we learn something, we have to also use that in a way to where we can produce it, right? When you're in school and the teacher teaches you something, she teaches you about a skill, history, reading, math, science, whatever it may be, you have to go in and apply that information on the test that they give you, right? And that is how you show her that you have produced this information now. It's no different than when you play sports. You go through the whole off season practicing and learning new drills and trying new things with your skills and your set and doing things to improve yourself, that when the game time comes around, when the season comes around, now you can use this stuff. And depending on how well you took the time to learn that in the off season will show how much you will produce in the season and the postseason as well. So we have to start seeing learning as a skill no matter what we do. When you are trying to learn how to be a doctor, you're trying to learn how to be a lawyer, a content creator, you're trying to learn how to be an artist, a musician, you're trying to learn how to be an entrepreneur, right? An investor, a parent, a husband, a wife, a child, whatever it may be, you're trying to learn how to do these things. You need to take into consideration that I am learning something, right? And after you get to the point to where you have learned something, now you have to get to the point to where you start producing stuff. If I am learning a skill, my skill that I'm trying to learn is how to be a better husband to my wife, okay? So if I'm going through and I'm learning these skills, I may be learning from other people, right? I may be reading books. I may be listening to speeches. I may even be just watching other husbands and watching how they treat their wives, okay? But now it comes into account when I get around my wife. Now I have to start producing that action that I have learned, right? I have to start producing that character that I have learned, right? So it's no different than we talk so much on we want to be better people and we want to do this for ourselves and we want to set this New Year's resolution and I'm going to change this in my life, right? We haven't taken the time to actually learn how to do that stuff. Right? I haven't, like me, one of the things that I wanted to focus on was being calm and keeping my patience. So I had to learn what patience was. I had to learn what being calm was. So I read a lot of stuff about Buddha. I read a lot of stuff about meditation. I read a lot of stuff about like Zen and keeping yourself sane, right? Keeping yourself calm and peaceful. And I also read about Jesus or read about Moses because they faced a lot of trial and tribulation in their life. And how did they handle that stuff? You see, now I'm not just reading it so I can get on here and be some theologian and I could just word you with the scriptures that I know. No, I'm reading this so I can learn a certain character skill. I'm trying to learn something direct, right? When you in school, even though we may be covering all the chapters of this entire book, right now for these 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long you spend on it, we're only covering chapter 1. That is the only thing that we're covering right now. So when you're in school and they're only teaching you chapter 1, the only thing that you need to focus on is how can I learn everything in chapter 1? Okay? You see what I'm saying? Some of us are trying to put too much on ourselves and we want to learn too much at one time. It's like trying to go work out and you show up to the gym the first day and it's all these machines in here and you trying to figure out what do I do and how do I even work these machines? Instead of just going to the treadmill and saying, you know what? Today I'm going to just walk for an hour. I'm going to just walk for an hour. I'm not going to jog. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to get down and do no push-ups, no sit-ups. I'm not going to the bench press. I'm not going to the squat machine. I'm not doing none of that stuff. The only thing I'm going to do is hit this treadmill for an hour and I'm getting out of here. And I'm going to do that for about a week. Or I'm going to do it even for a month. And then after I start, okay, you know what? I'm going to walk half of the time. and then I'm going to jog the other half of the time. You see what I'm saying? Another few months go on. Okay, now I'm a walk for 20 minutes, I'm a jog for 20 minutes, and I'm gonna work out my arms and chest for 20 minutes. You see how this started to develop and you started to learn more as you went along? Right? Some of us are trying to master a skill in one day. Some of us are trying to master ourselves in one day. We can't do that. We need to understand, okay, what is one thing that I'm messing up on? What's one thing that I'm messing up on? Me, I knew one thing. I didn't have no patience for people. So when people were saying things that I didn't agree with, I was going off on them immediately, right? When stuff wasn't going the way I wanted to do, I was losing my patience. I was losing my calmness, and I was all over the place, and I wasn't keeping my chill like I try to say now. Like I say, be easy for a reason, because I want you to treat yourself easy. And I don't want you to treat everything like it's just so hard and you can't get through it. I want you to be easy about the stuff that you do. I want you to treat life as if it's easy. I don't want you to treat it as if it's just hard and it's just this drag all the time. Right? Don't treat it like that. Change your mindset. Right? But that's one thing that you got to focus on. You fix one thing first. You learn one thing and then you learn the next. Because you're trying to learn a bunch of different things, but you can't produce a bunch of different things. Not at once. Now, as you start to develop and everything, like I said, you go to the gym. Okay, I can't produce the amount of energy that I need to get into the gym for an hour and lift weights. Right? And do cardio and stretch. I can't produce that amount of energy, but I can produce enough energy to get in here and stretch and walk for an hour. I can produce that energy. And then as I go along, okay, now I can produce a little bit more energy that it takes to walk and start jogging and stretch. As I go a little farther, okay, now I can still produce more energy where I can walk, jog, I can work out my arms, and then I can stretch. You go a little further. Okay, now I can walk, I can jog, I can do my upper body, I can do my lower body, I can do, my core, and I can still stretch. And I got enough energy to do that entire workout for a long period of time. It means nothing to me if you go hard in the gym for day 1, but you can't go hard day 2. That don't mean nothing to me, because really all you did was pretty much kill yourself. That's it. You didn't do nothing for yourself. It's like when you hear, I just heard this example about the brothers that started McDonald's and they sold the company for like 2.7 million, something like that, like 2 something million. And they sold it and now look at McDonald's. Right? If you would have bared the long term of it, look at it now. Then blew up. And imagine how much it's worth now. To stay with something for the long period of time, and you're willing to understand that, okay, I'm going to take this one step at a time, right? I'm not going to try to climb the whole staircase. Right? I'm not focused on trying to get to the 4th floor. No, I'm focused on how can I take the first step and then the second step, and then where I can get to the 2nd floor. Now I can take the first step, the 3rd step, right? And then I can get to the 3rd floor and then the 4th floor and work my way on up step by step, instead of just trying to climb one staircase and, take one step at a time, y'all. Focus on that one little area. Like it said, man, right here. It said, if learning is a skill, and we do not consider it to be one, meaning we are not taking the time to be able to consume information and understand how to produce that information. Right? Because we learning one thing and then we go into the next thing and we go into the next thing. And we ain't done anything but learn a bunch of stuff. You know how many YouTube videos you can just sit here and watch over and over and over? And I know all this stuff about vertical farming. I know all this stuff about the tech industry. I know all this thing about 5G. I know all this stuff about space. I know all this stuff about all these different things. But you can't produce none of that because you haven't taken the time to learn and really master one skill to where I can produce the next skill. You haven't taken the time to understand that learning is a skill. Learning is a skill, and we should treat it as one. We should not just treat learning as just something that we can just do whenever we want to do it. No, learning is a skill. And taking the time to understand, how do you learn? And how do I learn something? Right? Because it means nothing to just say, okay, I'm going to learn this. Learn what? I'm going to learn how to be calm. So, okay, how are you going to learn how to be calm, Isaiah? The way that I'm going to learn how to be calm is I'm going to go and I'm going to read books about being calm. Right? I'm going to go and I'm going to follow examples of individuals that have shown me that they can be calm in tough situations, right? And then after I do it, I'm going to start to model it in my own behavior So when times start to get tough, right, and the wind starts to blow and everything, and things start to get just dangerous, and I start to feel unstable, I know that I have worked on being calm in those situations, that when they come my way, I know I can still stand on my 10 toes and know I'm going to be good in this situation. I'm going to be good because I've learned that skill, and now I can produce that skill. Versus you just read books about it, but now it's time for you to come, and now you don't know what to do. Right? You can watch all these different videos starting up until January 1st about how to get into the gym and work out. And then you get into the gym and you start working out and you tired in 15 minutes because you're trying to do the stuff that some dude has been doing for the past 10 years of his life. You see? You can't keep up with that because you didn't take the time to learn a skill for yourself. You let somebody teach you a skill. There's a difference between teaching and doing. There's a complete difference. But when you take the time to learn a skill, you take the time to actually go in and do whatever it takes so you can become a master of this skill and you can start to produce this skill. Now you can start making real change in your life. But you can't make no change, y'all, if you just thinking about it. Right? You can't make no change if you just watching it, if you just listening to it. But when you start learning is a process of not just sitting there. Matter of fact, let's get the real definition, man. Let's get the real definition here. Learning a thing. Learning. The definition of learning. A thing learned by experience. A lesson. Right? There's other definition that says knowledge acquired through experience, study, or being taught. Like I said, I was taught. I'm not going to sit there and act like you can't just be taught. But even when you're taught, now you have to do something that when I've been taught this information, I got to go do something with it. So I was taught when I read those books about being calm, when I followed those examples of Jesus, Moses, even Muhammad, when I followed those examples of the things that they were doing that allowed them to be calm in tough situations, I was taught. But now it's not just one thing to just be, I was told the information. Cool, I was being told it. But now I got to go do something with the information. You see? A thing learned or a lesson. A lesson. So the lesson was, I seen in my past, when tough stuff started to happen, I lost my chill. So now I know when I get into situations when things get hard, I focus so much on keeping my chill. And I don't have to focus on all these other things, on how to try to keep all these other things sane. I can focus on one thing because I know, okay, this is the one thing that I was choosing to learn. Then after that, right, I learned I had an attitude problem, right? I felt that I was entitled and I was always right. Okay, let's focus on that. How can you figure it out that you're not entitled, son? How can you lose your entitlement? But the first thing I had to learn, right, or the first thing I chose to learn was keeping my chill. Then we went to the next area. Then we went to the next area. Y'all trying to show up to class on the first day and have all the information. It don't work like that. It's a 16-week period. It's a 32-week period, y'all. And we going to learn chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many chapters it is. We going to learn those week by week by week. Or month by month, by however long it takes. Right? We going to learn it until we get it. We gonna learn it until we get it, y'all. This ain't just school. This is the real world. We gonna learn it until we get it. And then when you get it down, then we can move on to the next thing. But if you ain't producing no fruit, this thing ain't being sold. If you're not producing any fruit from it, you need to stay within the field. You need to stay in the field if you haven't produced any fruit yet. If the harvest haven't come yet, you need to stay in the field until you get to the point to where you produce something. Then we can move on to the next thing. Right? You want to go try to focus on potatoes when your apple tree ain't done yet. Your apple tree still needed its attention. So let's produce something. Let's be fruitful. And then let's multiply, y'all. So like I'm saying, man, go learn something. And I mean, when I say learn it, I mean master it. Get it down. And know that you cannot also just teach about it, but you know that you can model the example of it. Because it is a lesson that you have been through. And it's an experience that you have brought yourself through. By the grace of God. So it's Coach Williz on here once again, y'all. Peace.